Yo. Okay. Yep. It is your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here is Urban Politics. Let's get right into it like a car and drive. All types of tasty politics for us to sink our teeth into. Number one, let's talk about what's on everybody's lips. What's all over the news right now is the Kyle Rittenhouse acquittal. First of all, let's start with a quote by Black Lives Matter. When it came out that he had been acquitted and found not guilty of all charges, Black Lives Matter quote, they said, "This is how the system conspires to entrench white supremacy." Amen. I'm gonna give you my synopsis of the whole event. Here it is. 17-year-old kid gets a chopper, that's what we call it in the hood, a big old assault rifle that you got to put on your back. Goes to a couple of states away where he lives, all because he was radicalized by right wing talking points. How peaceful protesters is fine, but property damage and vandalism is unacceptable. So he takes it upon himself to be security for random places of businesses, all in the name of being a good citizen. Some people might say, well, Phys Ed Music, you're oversimplifying that. I don't think I am. That's exactly what went on here, ladies and gentlemen. Since this kid was radicalized by these right-wing talking points, what happens? Two people got killed. One person got wounded. 36-year-old Joseph Rosenbaum was killed. 26-year-old Anthony Hubert was killed. And 27-year-old Gage Grosskreutz was wounded. The takeaway from this is even white death won't hinder or stop white supremacy. That's what we need to know. The right wants to legalize and normalize the killing of protesters, and we know that because of a House Bill 109 that was passed right here in Columbus, or at least is looking to get passed, is poised to be passed, where they want to demonize protesters, where they want to equate protesting to terrorism and be able to prosecute protesters like terrorists. Polls, this was a very interesting thing that kind of sums all this stuff up, right? Polls have shown that polls have shown a decline in Black Lives Matter support. History shows white people's support for pro-black movements has always been fleeting. So that right there kind of sums it all up, doesn't it? I keep telling people the George Floyd hangover in this country is over. A lot of people are just sick of it. They're done with it. I had seen a report come out that they said a lot of businesses no longer supported the Black Lives Matter movement. They were saying that a lot of people have said how they were sick of seeing Black Lives Matter stuff coming across their news feed on Facebook, coming across their timeline and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of people who, like I said, the George Floyd hangover is over. Yeah, a lot of us saw a snuff film where a brother got murdered in broad daylight by the police, or a police officer who, held a knee on the man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. But some of us are just bored with that. And this is America. We all got short memories around here. So people who look like me, who have to deal with racism and racist events every day, now we're not done talking about it. We ain't forgotten nothing. And we're going to talk about it till the cows come home because it's wrong and our people are dying in the streets, right? But a lot of America is just bored with it. The George Floyd hangover they're over it. They're ready to move on. So I guess that should be a wake-up call to some of the rest of us. Like I said, think about this. In this situation, no black death. A lot of y'all don't know that. As I go out here and I talk about this situation, blows me away. Some people don't even know that this kid, he didn't kill any black folk. All these people, for all intents and purposes, none of these people were people of color. All of these people were pretty much as white as he is. And that wasn't the point at all. That isn't the point at all. But a lot of people don't know that. So see, there's the thing. It wasn't even a loss of black life. This was white life. But that was also the powers that be showing you that even white life cannot stop or hinder this thing called white supremacy. And there are some people, you know what I'm saying, who enjoy white supremacy. They like white supremacy and they want to keep it going. And they don't care who has to die to keep it going. White, black, brother, or other. It doesn't make a difference. Things are the way they are and they ain't changing. And if some people who look like them have to die to ensure that things don't change, guess what? They'll die. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about two dudes who I don't have any respect for, but both of them are involved with politics. One was president, the other's trying to be president one day, probably. Let's talk about Trump versus DeSantis. And this is an interesting situation right here. Let me read. DeSantis, popularity with Republicans is taking off. Uh, Trump's went from praising him as a rising star in the GOP, formed in Trump's own image, to saying he'd definitely consider him for a vice presidency if Trump were to make a third run at president. He said he'd definitely keep DeSantis in the pocket as a possible vice president. So now demanding that DeSantis publicly promise to not run in 2024. Trump thinks DeSantis could show more gratitude. And they said that he's went around letting people know that, like, look, this guy was 3% in the polls until he got up under me and basically started riding my coattails to the top. And that is true. DeSantis was basically a nobody and he rose to a star in the GOP. Why? Because he got up under Trump. He did little silly things like you might remember a commercial with a guy who was reading his daughter a bedtime story about how Trump wanted to build a wall, who had his little baby toddler in a onesie. Yeah, that was this dude doing all that buffoonery. But it worked, especially worked with that base because now he's a star in that party. DeSantis is different because of the organic enthusiasm he sparked in deep pocket donors and the grassroots of the GOP. When Trump is left out of a GOP presidential poll, DeSantis gets 43% of the vote. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross donated $50,000 to DeSantis. That's a lot of money, right? Then Bernie Marcus, who is co-founder of Home Depot, gave him $250,000. That's $250,000, ladies and gentlemen. Interactive Brokers Group chairman Thomas Peterfy gave him $250,000, right? And Peterfy said himself when he was pressed about it, as far as 2024 candidates, he said that he thinks that DeSantis would be a better candidate than Trump. Why? Because he's less impulsive than Trump. So already some of these big deep pocket donors, some of these, you can call them the billionaire boys club right here. These guys got billions to throw around, right? And now they're starting to look at DeSantis. Now he's becoming the object of their attraction, and that is scaring the bejeebus out of Trump. It probably should be. So there's that. DeSantis has raised $56 million and has only spent about $2.3 million of it. Famously selling "Don't Fauci My Florida koozies" while COVID rages out of control in his state. So here's a guy who's made a whole bunch of money, $56 million, selling koozies that say "Don't Fauci My Florida," while his constituents in Florida are dying at remarkable rates from the COVID virus. Sad, sad, sad. But we see what garners respect in the new GOP, right? And he's a rising star in that party. So that is scaring Trump. It might should, because I'm not going to lie. Lord knows I do not like DeSantis. I don't agree with that guy politically at all, obviously. But is he more palatable than Trump? Sure he is. Because I haven't heard him come out of his mouth with a bunch of racist rhetoric like Trump. And I'm not saying the guy ain't racist. I'm not saying he's not every bit as bad as Trump. Actually, he's a little worse than Trump because he doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. This guy is smart enough to play a politically savvy game to not only rise to the ranks in that party, but also, make sure to keep his options open for a run in 2024. So DeSantis, that's somebody to be afraid of because he might be a Trump with a brain. That's what's scary. That's why I tell people all the time. Trump was scary and he was a threat to democracy if he only had a brain. It looks like this dude's got a brain. That makes him a threat for real, right? Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the Dems and how they have passed a mammoth, some huge lifting on this spending and climate plan, right? It passed with 220 votes to 213 votes. A lot of people were like, what's in it? It was $1.2 trillion. What's in it? Was it bipartisan? Sure it was. 13 Republicans risked their jobs, and if you ask me, their lives to vote for this legislation, because a lot of them have been getting death threats and all that other stuff, which even Mitt Romney came out and said was ridiculous. He was like, come on. First of all, Mitch McConnell voted for this thing, right? So obviously, you're not a rhino or anything else if you want to vote on some legislation that's going to help your constituents and your state. right? Even if you are a Republican and this is some Democratic legislation. And then he said the fact of actually wanting to strip somebody of their committee assignment or something like that because of a vote that they did, that is ridiculous. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but when even Mitt Romney comes out, you know that this is crazy. So it is crazy, but that's what that party is about right now. Not necessarily about helping the American people, but sticking it to the libs, you know, and they feel like these 13 Republicans, all they did was help give Biden a victory. No, they help give the American people a victory because there's stuff in this bill that's going to help all of America. What's in the bill? Let's talk about it. Look, repairing, modernizing ports, like where our boats and ships and such come in, delivering goods. The electrical grid is going to get an overhaul and a makeover and an upgrade. Systems that support the widespread use of electrical vehicles, electric garbage trucks, electric mail trucks are in the works thanks to this legislation. Transit of all kinds, roads and bridges, changing out unhealthy lead water pipes. That's huge. Asplint, Michigan. Expand broadband internet, things we've been needing to do around here for a long time. I remember Barack Obama saying you can walk into any McDonald's in America and pick up the internet. Why is it we don't have it in every school in America? Why is it not in just in every city in America, right? So now we're going to get that happening around here through this legislation. Biden said the bill is proof that Democrats and Republicans can come together and deliver results. Rob Portman, senator from Ohio, the great state that I'm coming to you from right now, said this should be the beginning of a renewed effort to work together on big issues facing our country. So that's huge right there. Trump's infrastructure week never happened. It never came. And it was always just a big joke. It became a big joke because he kept talking about infrastructure and we're going to build roads. We're going to do bridges. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And he never did nothing. He couldn't even build that wall at the border that he was talking about building. All he did was suck a bunch of money out of people's pockets for that and lie in his own pockets with the money. So that TI is what a TI is. He never brought you infrastructure. Joe Biden is bringing you infrastructure. He's repairing your electrical grids. He's doing all types of delicious things in here, right? But here's where it gets tricky, and here's what the Democrats are going to need to do if they call themselves trying to win in 2024. Dems need to rev up their messaging machine and get the word out about what they have given the American people. Now, Republicans, I don't agree with their policies. But I'll tell you what, they are always and have always been better at the job of politics because Republicans will do just a little bit, but they'll run out here and they make sure everybody knows about it and how it helped them. Their messaging is ridiculously good. You know, I mean, these people were able to make up a boogeyman called CRT or critical race theory, and it wins them elections because they know how to hammer it home. Even if it's a lie, just keep saying it, and it sticks in people's heads. And it works. The right is successful using those means all the time. I would say to people on the left, this is some positive stuff in this bill. They should be yelling it from the rooftops, what they've given the American people, right? So make sure everybody knows what Democrats are bringing America. Democrats are bringing America broadband internet, right? Democrats are making it so that we can get these electrical vehicles running and going and hopefully help, this climate and stuff that we got going on around here, make the air a little more breathable and the water a little more drinkable. Go out there and yell it from the rooftop so that people know who to vote for when it comes time to vote again. Vote for the party that is helping you and not the party that's not doing anything and just wants to have culture wars and talk about critical race theory and transgender kids playing sports and all that other garbage that don't mean nothing and ain't helping nobody in their regular life, right? Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about some local stuff. Let's get local, baby. Look, let's talk about House Bill, or actually the Ohio House, and how they passed a bill allowing concealed carry without a permit. Why would they do that? That just sounds bad on paper, right? And what it is it allows adults 21 and over to conceal carry a gun without a concealed carry permit in the state. Also known as constitutional carry or permitless carry. Okay. In 21 other states, no licensing is required. This legislation obviously is making it easy for any idiot to get a gun and go to another state and kill protesters with immunity. Not good for law enforcement either. They were saying that now this paints a scenario where a cop could pull somebody over, and they notice that, maybe the person repositions themselves and they notice that there's a gun in the car. That's going to change the tone of the whole stop, isn't it? Yeah. Why would you do this? Are they trying to turn it into the Wild Wild West around here? Now, I didn't even look up shooting rates for Columbus, Ohio, but I know from my news feed, always talking about a body found here, a body found there, a body found everywhere. Death rates are definitely not on the downslope in Columbus, Ohio. Why are we making it easier for people to get guns? And why are we making it okay for them to get these guns and not have any training about the safety or the right way to use it or any of that? They can just get this gun and do whatever they want to do with it. And then now we have that law to where people feel threatened, then they can go ahead and shoot people and they'll be protected by the law. Now we have these other laws that are saying that protesters are terrorists and that they should be dealt with as such. Now we got this guy, Kyle Rittenhouse, getting off when he went a couple of states over with a gun that wasn't his and shot some protesters, right? So that makes you all look at this and say, is that what's going on? They're turning this into the Wild Wild West. But this is something that's been in the makes for a while. Like I said, they want to normalize killing protesters. They want to normalize it, and they also want to make it legal. That when you do it, that you'll know that you'll be protected by the law. Because and then like even in that Kyle Rittenhouse case, he wasn't allowed to refer to those protesters as victims. You know what I'm saying? But he could call them rioters and such like that, right? So that's what this is about, and it's sad. And is it going to keep going on like that? It seems it is. It seems that the NRA is winning this thing because that's their whole thing. They want to make sure to get guns into as many hands and make as much money as possible. And then that's also the rights thing too. They want to demonize protesting and make sure that protesters are snuffed out, because protesting is the way that you get the word out about injustices. If it wasn't for protesting, you would not know who Trayvon Martin was. If it wasn't for protesting, there'd be a lot of things that would just slide under the radar, even in the days of the internet and Facebook and Instagram and all of that. So we need protesting. Without protesting, then you have people being able to do things in the cover of darkness and get things off and people not know about it, not having a light shined on it. So that is the whole point. You know what I'm saying? Getting rid of protesting, and we can't let that happen. So that TI is what a TI is. Let's move on and talk about a little positive information. The new affordable housing development that's going up in Columbus will list rents as low as $350 a month. That is huge. 180 unit affordable housing. There'll be a fitness area. There'll be a computer room and up to 4-bedroom apartments. So you can get a 4-bedroom apartment in this place. It'll be called the Sinclair. It'll open in 2023 at the former site of Alrosa Villa Music Hall / bar. This was a place 5 people got shot and killed there. It was a music hall. I've been there to a few concerts myself back in the day. So it has a thick, rich history of like bands performing there. But obviously, as you see, it also has a thick, rich history of people being shot and killed there. So I guess it was kind of good that they bulldozed the place, got rid of it, and now they're coming with some affordable housing. This is huge right here. 180 units. Places as low as $350 a month. I was thinking in my mind, I'm 45 now. I think the first apartment I got when I was 19, 20 was about $350 a month. So that's good right there. That's some affordable housing. That's what's needed around here. So, yay. You know what I'm saying? That's something positive for Columbus, Ohio. So it's good to be able to report on something positive like that. Why is it needed? Columbus has grown by 100,000 people in the last decade. So in the last 10 years, we have gotten 100,000 extra people around here. So do we need this housing? Yes. Do we want this housing? Yes. I've reported on this show how a lot of people had said that, all that money that our state got, that, all these other states got with the stimulus programs and all that other stuff, that we needed more money allocated for this affordable housing. We probably do need more money allocated that's even being allocated right now, but this is a good start. And I love to hear that number. That's what I was waiting for. I wanted to hear the number for these apartments, because if it's affordable housing, well, then show me how it's affordable. And $350 a month is affordable. Like I know I remember paying that myself for my first apartment. So that is what it is. That's a good thing right there. So that's a little something positive to report on. Before I get out of here, let me deal with my IPA of the week. Yes, this IPA is JALAI. Indian Pale Ale. That's right. JLA IPA. This is a good IPA. Company Cigar City Brewing is the one who makes this. It says the merry game of Ja'ala. Ja'ala, I think that's what it is. Ja'ala provides inspiration for this centrist forward Indian Pale Ale with notes of clementine, orange peel, and caramel malt, creating an IPA that's both bold and approachable. Bold and approachable. So I guess if I saw this JLA IPA somewhere, I would approach it. I wouldn't be scared to say, "What's up? Let me drink some." But it's delicious. It's good. If you got a little bit of money in your pocket, you could do worse than picking up one of these JLA Indian Pale Ales from Cigar City Brewing. It goes hard. It's pretty good and delicious and refreshing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is my time, and this right here is Urban Politics. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Tell a friend to like and subscribe, like and subscribe. And as always, see you around like a donut.